Hello everyone and welcome to the June 2023 release video hop. So excited to share a project with you today using a few of the sets from this release. I will be using Bird of the Mountain die set, Orange Blossom die set for the leaves and the branch, Elegant Sayings for my sentiment, and I will use Moroccan tile 3D embossing folder, but I didn't know that at this point. We will be using Industrial Diamond, Pure Graphite, Vanilla Cream, Evening Gray, and Cloudy Night for our bird. And I have some paper that was a little damaged when it came to me, so I like to use it for die cut pieces so that I don't waste it, even though it's got a little crease in the corner. And then I'm also going to cut out the leaves and the branch, so we have those. We will use Marshland as the first color as we begin our leaves, and I started out with my mini ink blending tool and Marshland, trying to cover all of the leaves. I did use some satin masking tape to hold these pieces in place while I am blending them. We'll now move over to Sea Forest. So now I'm going to use another piece of that damaged cardstock, and I'm just going on the edges and I'm adding some of the Sea Forest so that I get some interest, some dimension, some depth on these. So add color where you feel it looks best. Ultimately, we want to make those eyes happy. If our eyes like what they're looking at, then we are good to go. So, and our eyes are pretty particular. So, but I'm just blending to give it a little bit of depth and dimension. Like I said, I'm not really paying attention to anything. I'm just having a play. And who doesn't love to have a play with some ink blending? So today was a very fun day. I'm so excited that Altenew is coming out with more sets like these so that we can build scenes, or we can just build a card like with an embossing folder. But we do get to have fun with some ink blending or paper or both. So I love these sets for the versatility. Now we're going to come and we're going to work on the branch. And I realized I would get it on my work surface if I didn't put it on that piece of cardstock. We're starting with Mocha, but this branch it has a story to tell as we go through it. But we're starting out with Mocha, and I'm just kind of covering it. And then I'm coming in and I'm putting espresso where I want it to be darker. So kind of at where the branches kind of split and up by where it would connect to the tree. So that was the original thought. Now I'm taking a small blending tool, and I have my Bird of the Mountains, and I have Vanilla Cream, and I'm putting what I think is a good layer. We will add some more later, just a little sneak peek, I guess. And then we're putting Industrial Diamond on the feet. So I am from the state of Maine, and I'm trying to mimic the chickadee. So let me know how you think I did. I think I did pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, my little chickadee. So I'm pretty excited about it. So you saw me there put Industrial Diamond on the feet, on the front and the back. I wanted to make sure there was no white showing. Now we're working on piece number 2, and we're putting Evening Gray across that. Then we're bringing in Cloudy Night, and I'm just adding a little bit around the edges so I have some interest. Because remember, the dark inks really show off the light inks. Having that contrast is wonderful in your projects. So we're going to start with Industrial Diamond. Originally, I had planned to use Pure Graphite for this piece. You saw the Pure Graphite come out really quickly, but the end decided I wanted Industrial Diamond, and then I'll add detail with the Pure Graphite just up around the head and a little bit on the back, but more so on the head. Of course, this is not a chickadee die set, so it's not, a perfect match, but it was a good mimic or impersonation of it, I guess you could say. All right, so now we were on piece 4, and we're blending again the Evening Gray, and I'm taking that piece out now, and I'm going to put some Cloudy Night on piece 5. This is the piece that will go down first because it has the arrow. This piece that I'm blending on now is the piece that will cover piece 5 so that nobody sees the arrow. Now I'm putting on some Industrial Diamond. I really wanted to have depth and dimension in these wings, so I did do 3 colors. And finally, I'll come in with pure graphite and just add some depth and dimension there. And I will take another step later in the video with that. But for now, we're going to go back to Industrial Diamond for the feet, the eye, and the beak. And that changes as well. A lot changes when we craft. So here's my branch, and I think I'm happy, but I'm not. So I decide to put some Industrial Diamond in the places that I think it would be darker. And actually, looking at it in editing, I could have left it alone, but I ended up putting the espresso on top of it. So I built that really dark color. Then certain parts of my branch looked a little too light, so I did put a little bit more ink on those as well. Keep in mind that these are dye-based inks, so they dye your paper. That does take some time to do, and as it settles, you may get a different color than what you had intended. So sometimes you may need to add more ink, and you'll see that coming up in a little bit. Now, of course, I am the queen of cutting tiny, tiny pieces out of my Altenew Instant Dimension foam tape and fitting them on the back of places. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I want dimension, baby. I love dimension. My life is not complete without some foam tape and dimension in my projects. I will pay what I have to pay to ship it, but I love the dimension. So that's what we're doing here. We're adding dimension to our leaves. So we got those all set. Now we're coming back, and now it's time to assemble our little faux chickadee, I guess, or chickadee. You know, you guys let me know in the comments. You guys can be the judge and see if you think it's a chickadee. So I've got the first piece down there too. Now I've got 3 on here, just making sure I'm lining up that arrow for 3 and 4, making sure I line up the arrow. That's the most important piece. I am using the Altenew glue tape to attach my pieces when I'm not using Instant Dimension foam tape. So I go back and forth between the 2. So this one I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to cover up all of the arrow, which is going to guide me and show me where I need to put piece 5. So I got that into place. I'm all set there. And now I'm pulling off the piece that covers up this piece. So I was a little off camera, but I'm taking my mini blending tool and I'm going around the edges of the wing. I wanted a little bit more darkness, and I wanted to make sure no white was showing. So I have that done. Then I wasn't happy with the color. I wanted it to be darker. Then I put a little bit more on my bird. And of course, I get a little too much, so it went up into the yellow. So what do? We come back and we add a good dose of the vanilla cream along the bottom of the bird, including the spot where we got the extra grit. And then we wipe it off our mat. Then I decided at the last minute to use an enamel dot from the black and white enamel dots to have his eye. Then we're going to go ahead and put on his beak, and we'll put on his feet. The chickadee, they don't have black feet and a beak. It's really a dark gray. So that's why I went with the pure graphite and Industrial Diamond. So there's my faux chickadee, and here is my Moroccan tile 3D embossing folder that I've run through, and now I'm trying to figure where I want everybody to be. So I think that looks good, so I decide I'm going to get my sentiment, because before I get too much of this planned, I want to know where my sentiment's going to go. I did dip this in crystal clear embossing powder off screen because my ceiling fan was on. And so I heat set that, and then I'll go ahead and I will die cut this out after taping it in place with satin masking tape, run it through the Adorbs little mini blossom, and we have our sentiment. So I'm going to, of course, my favorite part, put tiny, tiny little pieces of foam tape on the back of my sentiment. So I still think I want everything where I want it. So I'm kind of laying out my leaves and seeing where I want them and making sure that where my bird goes, the leaves aren't in the way. So I would have lost those 2 leaves if I had kept them where they are. And then that didn't look right because it looked like it just didn't look right. So that looked right to me. So it looked like maybe this was a longer branch and, you know, the branch just continued off. So that really extended the length of my branch, kind of like an optical illusion in my eye. So I trimmed off that piece of branch because I didn't need it and put a little glue tape underneath. I didn't put glue tape anywhere else on the branch, but it's okay because everything else will hold it in place. And then I'm going to pop my leaves up there to give the optical illusion that it's a really super long branch. And my sentiment would have looked nice down there, but I ended up sticking it up at the top as I generally do. And then again, my favorite hobby, trying to fit as much foam tape on my project, including little tiny pieces. It tickles me. I have to tell you, it's like a game to me. Like, how much can I get on there and how tiny of a piece can I actually get? It really makes me happy. So I did get a good size, like small piece on the beak. So I was super stoked about that. So there we go. He has all his foam tape. I'm trimming his beak just a little. Now we're removing the backers from our faux chickadee. I'll let you be the judge, I guess. I shouldn't call him faux chickadee. We'll call him Charlie the chickadee, I guess. And then you can let me know if he really is Charlie the chickadee. And then we pop our sentiment in and our card is done. I hope you had so much fun today seeing how to combine two of these amazing sets from this release. Until next time, happy crafting.